Hello.
Things are going pretty well since I took over.
Exactly, Michael.
Certainly a lot smoother lately.
Because they're on your side.
Yeah, because we're killing it.
No, but that is the impression it's given, Michael. What are you going to do about it? Well, I suppose for him, he's like, well, I'm going to get out. We're going to go to the good place. That's the plan. Mate, it's not foolproof, is it?
Quinston over here.
Quinston?
We're gonna have Tahani throw a party for Gunner's birthday. We'll also be throwing a party.
Boom.
They're just having a good time. This is fair.
That one just came to me.
Nice, they're having a good... I approve.
That really tugs my nuggets.
What? You are very obsessed with your nuggets, sir. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
I work so hard on my torture ideas and theirs are so basic.
I feel like that's why they're winning.
These millennials, they have no work ethic.
Hey!
Sorry, a millennial is someone who's only been torturing people for 1,000 years.
Oh, fair enough. Makes sense.
Is that what we should call you? Demon?
Good question.
I mean, it's not really accurate,
Go on. Eternal?
and we consider it to be a little racist,
Ooh, I'm sorry.
but it's fine.
Go ahead.
Well,
No. Let's linger.
First lesson.
Okay.
Let's
just be racist, I guess. I'm gonna go with eternal.
Tahani and Jason will have to make it up since they're both off being fake torturers.
Read everything on your syllabus, and how do I put this delicate?
Don't say it.
Stupid garbage.
No, you got to engage.
We have to start somewhere.
Yes.
How about Socrates?
Yes.
Let me just get into the mindset of a human.
Don't be offensive.
Oh, I'm a human, and my breathing tube is next to my eating tube.
That is weird, to be fair to him.
My arms end in stupid little sticks.
Hey, they're handy though.
Proceed.
Good.
I'm being forced to throw a party that I know will fail.
Have fun with it.
That's why they're doing this. It's what you're best at.
Oh,
Like, I'm the best at getting empty water bottles to stay on the roof of a Pizza Hut.
beautiful. Let's see that.
I am the best at planning parties. Mm-hmm. Does she have taste, sophistication, and encyclopedic knowledge of traditional and avant-garde Belgian floral design?
Yes, she does.
Jason,
She doesn't.
nailed it.
What if I throw a party that is so amazing?
Have fun with it.
Janet, when I turned 18,
Go on.
I knelt in front of Princess Grace's dress mausoleum,
Of course you did.
and I swore to uphold the hostess code.
Why?
I, Tahani Al-Jamil, shall do my level best to make every event too much.
Beautiful. Queen.
Model tonight's decor after my 2008 fundraiser for the Red Cross.
I'll drink to that.
Michael is not into your class right now. Right now, I'm the best student.
Yeah, I love that we're like pitting Eleanor and Michael, like not pitting, but like contrasting them as students of Chidi's class now. Oh, it's beautiful because obviously season 1, we had Michael as almost the pinnacle of good. Chidi obviously teaching Eleanor, that was their dynamic. And now having Michael into that mix and being the worst student, it's just beautiful how they're like shaping these characters or manipulating these characters into positions that are so interesting considering what we knew of them.
The Velociraptor.
You trying to say valedictorian?
Look, dude, this isn't your fault. You've been teaching him ethics for a half an hour, and he's been evil since the beginning of time.
It is a hard task.
Maybe the reason Michael can't latch onto the ideas is because he's immortal.
Okay?
Look, if you live forever, then ethics don't.
Doesn't really matter, yeah, who cares?
There's no consequences for your actions.
Right,
Wait a few trillion years, the guilt will fade.
yeah.
Before I can teach Michael to be good,
Yes, well assessed, mate.
force him to think about what we used to think about. Life has an end,
Which,
and therefore our actions have meaning.
yeah, which is true for him because his life might end soon. And then what happens? I mean, to him, nothing, maybe. He's going to be like, that's it. That's the end. I won't think about it. I don't go anywhere afterwards. It's fine. But if they can swing it in a way that makes him, think about, actually, there is an end. And perhaps what I do here means something. If you can get him to think that way, that would be interesting.
I used to think about how it's weird they don't make pants that are just one big pant leg for both your legs.
It's called a skirt, mate.
You mean a skirt?
Yeah.
No,
What?
you're not getting it, and my thing is different.
Okay.
Is there any way that you can die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called retirement.
The sun thing.
When one of us really screws something up,
Can I just say, in the politics of the Eternals, that's a bit brutal. You're immortal beings, and you have the death penalty when you don't need to. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're taking immortality away from a certain... But, like, look, it's one level of what we have in humanity, of the death penalty. Like, okay, so this is kind of an abstract concept, because this isn't, to at least our knowledge, real. But humanity have the death penalty, and that's a whole conversation in itself. I'm not going to touch it, because that's a debate that, you know, people have. And it's a hot topic. It is. That's not the point of why I'm bringing it up, so I'm not going to go there. But we have that as humanity, but we're mortal. So that's one thing. You can argue whether whether that's good or bad or, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. When you compare that experience of having a death sentence in a mortal race versus the death sentence in an immortal race, I do feel like the death sentence in the immortal race is more egregious because you are taking something away from somebody that is infinitely more lasting. Do you know what? It's interesting that I do phrase it that way because that makes me feel as if I'm being cruel towards humans, because I don't feel like that should be an argument. I mean, again, this is an abstract argument. It's not really one that's based in reality, so I'm giving myself a little bit of a pass there, but I don't mean to lessen the weight of the death penalty for mortals. Absolutely not. That's still a really heavy decision. I just think that when you're talking about mortality, you're going to die anyway. That's always going to be the reality. There is a certain lightness to that theoretical situation as opposed to the theoretical situation of taking away the immortality of somebody via the death penalty. What I'm trying to say, the point is to say that the Eternals, I do feel like it's so cruel, so egregiously cruel, so horrific to invite upon an immortal being death in a way that it wouldn't be for a mortal being. And I think actually as well, there's probably more fear in Michael for that because he's immortal. He doesn't have to deal with death in the same way that humans do. The idea of death, I feel like, should be so much more intense for that. Again, most of the point that I'm trying to bring up is actually judgment on the eternal beings for having a death penalty.
My essence would be scooped out of my body with a flaming ladle.
Okay.
A molecule in my body would be placed on the surface of a different sun.
But your essence would survive.
Essence would be scooped out of my
Scooped
body
out.
with a flaming
Yeah, so your essence is scooped out of your body, and then your body
Every molecule in my body
would be placed
on the surface of a different sun.
So what I'm hearing is your body gets destroyed, your soul is scooped out and not destroyed. So what happens to your soul?
Is that what would happen if your boss found out?
Okay, we're not touching on it. Interesting. I don't know if their death sentence is a death sentence then. Is it just a punishment? Do you know what I mean? Because the way he phrased that made it sound as if some part of him would survive the process.
Okay, so that might actually happen.
Right, work with it.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah? I don't think he's going to care.
I'll think about that.
Oh, okay. No, we're there. We're getting there.
No, me?
Valid.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. For an immortal being though, yeah.
No, this is good. He's having
It is
an
good.
existential crisis.
Which we all need. No, that's not true. We don't all need. We just happen to all experience it. And he doesn't, so he needs it for their purposes. That's what I meant.
People go through when they contemplate the silent indifference of our empty universe.
Yeah.
If he can work through this, it's the first step towards understanding human ethics.
This is a good first step. I agree though.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Do you eat?
Do you drink?
What do you eat? Babies? How about a Cool Ranch baby?
You went to that very quick, Eleanor.
How does anyone do anything?
Yeah, fair. You're there though, mate. Good.
It's pretty easy, man. I mean, you learn about
To you, Eleanor.
just not that big a deal.
To you. No, to be fair though, I don't think this is the thing. Oh, I can't remember. I'm getting my videos mixed up. I don't know where I've mentioned it. I've mentioned it somewhere. I don't think it was a Good Place video, but I do think. Maybe it was a Good Place video. I'm not sure. Who knows? I get them mixed up. I'm so sorry. I do so much content, so many shows. It was Buffy, I think. Anyway, not important. Point is, I do think we underestimate, and I think it comes into like the idea of purity culture nowadays. I think we do underestimate what kids can take. Because I remember as a kid, I was watching all sorts, right? You know, the concept of death was introduced to me so quick, and it wasn't that big a deal. People just died. Bad guys died. That's usually the way it goes, right? Like you watch something, the bad guys die, whatever, you know, you're watching Star Wars, stormtroopers get shot, whatever. That's what happens. And I think as kids we do process that, and I think if you process that at an early age, I think it's better than if you're sheltered from that, right? And like I say, so it comes into like this whole purity culture thing that we have going on now, and I don't think that's necessarily healthy because we are kind of putting off these topics. And I think experiencing these kinds of things as a child, where you're in a safe space with an adult, you know, a parental guardian there to help you through that, and parent you through that, I think that's healthy, because you're always going to have to approach that. You're always going to encounter that. And I think encountering that in a safe space is much preferable to growing up and not encountering that as a kid and being on your own, possibly, you know, encountering something for the first time, never having that introduced to you. And I think purity culture disturbs that in a negative way a lot of the time, or can disturb that in a negative way a lot of the time. Depends what it is, right? An example that I always bring up is I watched a nature documentary, I think a Planet, a David Attenborough Planet show. I can't remember what it was. It's on Netflix. And I remember watching that and then comparing it to what I used to watch as a kid. And, you know, when I was watching as a kid, you know, the animals, you'd see them getting ripped apart and you'd see the blood and the gore and the blah, blah, you know. And it was really such a stark contrast when I watched, you know, one of the David Attenborough, the more recent ones, and they don't really show that, which I found really odd. And it might seem really weird for me to be bringing that up and being like, show them the gore, right? It might be really weird. But like from my perspective, it's really weird that we're sheltering people from that, because that is a fact of life, right? And that is nature. And I'm not saying people watch those nature documentaries for that, and maybe some people prefer watching them and not having that, right? But I do find it kind of stepping outside the situation and comparing, you know, nature documentaries now versus when I was a kid. I do find it weird that we're omitting that. It's like, what's the goal? When you compare them together, the goal is sheltering people from the gore and the harsh realities of life and the food chain. And what are we achieving by doing that? I think actually showing people the reality of what happens in the world is honestly far more valuable than hiding that. I think you appreciate what happens in life. I think you appreciate what the cost is, and therefore you can weigh things better if you know what that cost is and you see that. It's weird because it's not like necessarily like something you can have a real world applicable value to, right? The very specific example I'm drawing. I mean, that's one like very specific example that I personally find weird. And I think the only thing that I truly find weird about it is that if you take that example and permeate it through all media, that's the issue. That's the greater issue. That's the issue that I have with it. The nature documentary thing on its own, not super problematic. I think what to me is disturbing, like I say, is if that element of portraying media permeates all media as opposed to just the nature documentary. You know, that's the issue. Anyway, like I say, purity culture. I do think it is inherently unhealthy and prevents us from experiencing the world the way it is, because what you're doing when you do that is you hide the truth from people, the harsh truth sometimes. But I think if you hide that from people at a young age, you endanger them later on, because like I say, you're not insuring them against it when they're a kid, when they're in a safe environment, when they can question their parents and talk to their parents about it. You're sending them out into the world where they haven't experienced anything, they haven't seen anything, and they have to experience that for themselves, raw, personally, if they ever experience it, right? And that's going to hit them so much harder for that. And I think that's where the danger of purity culture comes in.
Your doggy Max has passed away. Sometimes when a dog is very old, like 5 or 6 or something.
What have you been doing to it? What did you do? I don't trust this mum because of what I've seen.
Okay, look, I'm lying, okay?
Oh.
The farm is made up. There's no such place as Guam.
No.
Slightly longer answer
Go ahead.
is I didn't know how hot it gets, and I'll get kind of annoyed if you do get sad, because it's been a very long day, and that
Okay.
I had to use one of my favorite duffel bags to do something very gross that I did not like
Buddy.
by bringing mommy another bottle of white.
Okay. I just wanted to let that scene play out. I don't know why. But interesting conversation, because it's like, is that the best way? Because I caught myself during that conversation of being like, this is kind of good in a certain way, because it's like you're not sugarcoating, right? It's that question as a parent. And look, I'm not a parent, so I don't have the experience of, you know, imparting that to my child, right? I don't, but I do empathize with parents who have to have those conversations, because it's that thing, isn't it? And so that's why I mention it, because I had pets when I was younger, and I honestly don't know what the truth was. I used to have rabbits as a kid, so I've experienced it from the opposite way round, is what I'm saying. It's not that important, but that's the basic gist of where I'm coming from. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, do you be honest or do you fabricate a story? I know, especially American media, the idea of they've gone to a farm, they've gone to a somewhere, you know, that is a big shtick. That is a big kind of thing that people lean on, right? Which I'm not criticizing. I suppose I'm asking the question of like, is that the best way? Because yeah, so during that conversation, I was like, is this better? She is being honest. I think she's being brutally honest to a point that maybe she doesn't have to be. Like, you can drip feed Okay, so this is the thing. This is maybe what I would say is that you could do the farm thing, and then later on when they grow up, it's like, oh, they never went to a farm, they died, and then obviously the kids growing up and they're like, oh, it's fine, I kind of worked that out, you know, it is what it is. And actually, so it's interesting because that's like I went through that whole like process as that conversation was going on, and actually it's interesting because we've got a really interesting case study in that we are seeing Eleanor from the future and how she is having experienced that. And what she said before that scene was, what did she say? Hang on, let me go back.
It's pretty easy, man. I mean,
This.
you learn about death when you're a kid, and
it's just
not that big a deal.
And I don't know, this is the thing, I don't know if she's necessarily telling the truth there. She's saying that it's very flippant, and she's saying, you know, death's not a big deal, and she's saying that because of that. And what I'm seeing a little bit is perhaps she's not actually now processing death in a way that is healthy because she's learned to treat it very lightly. Maybe that's better. Maybe it genuinely is. I don't know really until I've seen her deal with someone who she cares about dying, because I don't truly think that her parents are that, as harsh as that might sound from what I've seen. But like, for example, if she saw, like, you know, if they were living and Chidi died, I think she would struggle with that, for example. Do you know what I mean? What I'm getting at is that because of her mother, that the experience that we just saw in the scene we just saw, her mother's not really taught her to deal with it. It's just like, it's not a big deal, it happened, deal with it. There's no parenting necessarily going on there. It's just the harsh truth, right? I think that's perhaps what you could say. She, you know, the mum's taking the parenting out of it and she's just like, boom, there you go. Whereas like I would maybe come down on like, okay, if you're going to approach that, maybe drip feed the farm thing and maybe later be like, look, I lied to you. I was trying to protect your feelings and this is what happened when they're a little bit older maybe. Do you know what I mean? Maybe the drip feeding is the way to go about it. And I think what we're seeing, like I say, in the future, we have this interesting case study, I think, is that as a kid, because of her experience, as an adult, she doesn't process death perhaps in the best way. Maybe we'll see that as we go through the show. Maybe she's going to lose someone. Maybe at least it's going to seem like she loses something. You know what I mean? Like maybe Chidi or someone is lost and she has to deal with that herself. And it's like, damn, it's not easy. It's not. Maybe she's not truly been through that and not been prepared for that because of, you know, what she experienced as a kid. We'll see. The interesting kind of equation that I guess that scene, that flashback introduces of what is the right choice? What is the best way to go about it?
I would say I outdid myself, but I'm always this good.
That is beautiful.
So I simply did myself.
Excuse you.
I know that look. He just snorted a bunch of printer toner. Mike, listen to me. You have nothing to worry about. You still have around 70% of your brain left.
Jason.
Parties are mere distractions from the relentlessness of all just corpses.
I love this. Good. He needs to go through this. We all do. Isn't it wild? Because this is the subject matter of the episode of like, isn't it wild how as humans we don't have this as part of our basic education of, do you know what I mean? Because like I went through this as a young kid. I just kind of dealt with it, right? And I feel like people they deal with it at different parts in their life. I'm not saying that, you know, I experienced it as a kid and I'm not going to experience it again. I've gone through it several times of like, you know, this thing of like, what's my place in life? What's my value? What do I do? What am I doing here? What's the point? You know what I mean? Like I think it's not uncommon for you to go through it several times in your life, right? However early you might encounter it. And I don't think everyone goes through that. I think some people just get on with stuff and they don't really think about it. I think, you know, you do get people who aren't so self-aware, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not trying to call them stupid or anything like that. That's just how some people are wired, and hey, there's an argument to be made that they're better off, right? But my point is that it's wild, isn't it, that I do feel like a lot of people go through that as a question, existential crisis, and we're not trained to deal with that at all. At school, we're not. I never went through any lessons, at least from what I remember. I feel like I'd remember that of, hey, this is probably something you're going to encounter. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Let's just, you know, hash it out a little bit so you don't have to necessarily go through that on your own. Wild, isn't it, that we have these human experiences that I think are very harmonious. We all go through them and we don't prepare ourselves for it. Wow.
And pretend you're having fun, okay? Just like I used to do when someone started talking about their kids.
Relatable.
Flying station's over there if you want to fly like a falcon.
Beautiful. That's not like a falcon though. You didn't flap his wings once?
Oh, and have you ever wanted to sit in a kangaroo pouch?
My whole dang life.
Get him, but hey, I don't know.
I'm gonna go jump in that kangaroo's pouch.
Dude, have a good time.
Honey, you just need to walk around the party looking miserable. Great.
She is. Yeah. Okay, he's going through his midlife crisis, yeah. Because this is the thing, this is what midlife crisis is. It's kind of going through... Sorry, I've just watched a Buffy episode where they, as kids, it's the whole concept of having to decide where you are in life when you're like 16, 17, 18, which is insane. And locking yourself into a path for the next 10 to 15, 20 years. And then when you hit 40, it's like, right, I've chosen this life. I made these decisions when I was a teenager. Not really as informed perhaps as I should have been. And for a lot of people, it doesn't work out. You get to when you're 40 and suddenly you realize this isn't the life that I wanted. And you have a midlife crisis and you try and, zhuzh it up with a Ferrari or have an affair or something. And so it's interesting that we're talking about an existential crisis, because midlife crisis is just an existential crisis at a different time in your life. And I think it's completely natural to experience that as well, considering how our society works and how we are taught to make really deep, heavy life decisions at a young age that we might realize perhaps when it's too late, because our society doesn't allow for us to change our minds necessarily, not easily, at a certain point in our life, and we just have to keep going with that when it's not the path to happiness for that individual person, right? And that's where midlife crises come from. So sorry, it's just interesting that we're dealing with, the title is Existential Crisis, and we're dealing with the midlife thing as well, because it's very important when you're talking about this, when this is the subject matter.
I'm a new man. Oh,
Good.
Ellen.
If this is what he needs, good.
Thank you so much for the advice about shoving my feelings down deep. It's like I'm surfing on this wave of positivity.
Oh, he did an earring as well.
Hi, Jeanette.
Oh, no, it's still me, Janet.
Man, repressing your feelings is great.
Is it? I mean, it can be for a little bit. It catches out with you.
Moved on from existential crisis to just straight
Yep.
up midlife crisis.
Yep. I mean, it's the same thing, different shade.
It's Chinese for Japan.
I can't imagine it is, though.
But this is just denial, and at any moment that denial could collapse, and he'll be a mess.
Do you think denial? I don't agree with that, mate. I'll be honest with you. I don't think a midlife crisis is denial. I mean, in a certain way, sure. But I think it goes deeper than that. I mean, look, I've talked about a midlife crisis and where I feel like that comes from. And that's not necessarily... It's a denial of where you've found yourself in life, for sure. I think it is different to an existential crisis. I think it's still the same topic, though. And I think denial doesn't do it justice. I think there's more to that.
For an immortal being, he's pretty fragile.
And you would be if you were immortal, I think.
Completely loses his grip on reality?
Yeah, but you're immortal. Imagine, and most mortals have an issue with dying. Imagine you're immortal, and then the concept of dying is floated to you, and you've lived for like millennia. Dude, that's so much more powerful, I feel like.
It's hard, losing a parent.
Thanks for blowing my cover, Doug.
It's not a great luck that she always has a wine glass in her hand, is it?
He was a fart in the shape of a man. Can you just chill? Mm-hmm. So don't be sad that he's gone.
I'm not sad. I'm fine.
She's not fine, and she needs to process it. That's what we're seeing here, I think. What we saw before the mum came in was that actually, as much as she didn't perhaps value her father as much as, the next person, she did value him. It's still a big loss, and she's allowed to process that. She should be allowed to process that. And again, her mum coming in and not letting her do that, even at this point in life. It's not good.
I won. He's dead. Up top.
No.
I don't have actual unicorns you can ride.
Wow.
Get out there, mis amigos.
No.
Okay.
Focus on something great like Dracar Noir. Woo! I'm gonna do some push-ups. Then we'll go around the room and name our favorite cheese.
Oh, feta.
Namaste, chica. Do you want to dance?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Too miserable to stay here for one more second.
Why? There are
Jason, have you got a monkey? You got a monkey.
baby monkeys and dolphins to ride.
Beautiful.
Actual hippos. This party is...
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't concentrate. I want to touch the monkey. Like, not in a weird way, just like little scritches on his head, do you know what I mean? I want to see what sound it makes. Like,
party
I'm just
is
saying.
way
God damn it, I'm Jason. Their cover is tight.
What now, huh? Want to hit the clubs?
Let's do it.
Vegas. No. Even better.
Yeah. Guys, go along with it. Let's go.
Make us a Dubai. Can't stop moving. I stop moving, I'll start thinking about things I don't want to think about, like death.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm thinking about it now.
Chidi, get involved.
Jeanette and I have been taking samba lessons.
Go on, show us.
Let us show you how to do it. Come on.
Emotionally, he's all over the map right now.
Yeah,
What's the big whoop? I dealt with death and I was fine.
Were you?
Good Chidi.
I mean, you never had one moment where you were freaked out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Here we go.
Who has 4 toothbrushes?
For a family.
Whole family and their toothbrushes all together?
Foreign concept for you.
2 slots for their
Not something
kids?
that's ever occurred to you because of your own family.
Close to the kid toothbrushes and
There we go. Bless her. And this is exactly the point. I mean, it's presenting it like it does, right? The Good Place does, in a very light, humorous way, but they're very deep topics. It's very deep. The way that she has encountered these issues as a kid has shaped how she behaves as an adult and processes these emotions. And I think I brought up, purity culture before because I think that influences the way that we process emotions. And I think that that's so important to pay attention to. And I think it does affect you when you become an adult, how you deal with these things as a kid, and I think how they're presented to you by your parents, very, very important, and I think it's exactly what we're seeing here.
make sure no harm ever comes to their little bristles.
Sure.
You're doing well, dude. No.
Sorry, I'm so embarrassed. A family pack?
I don't know if what I'm gonna say is gonna hurt or help, but screw it.
Go ahead.
All humans are aware of death, so we're all a little bit sad all the time.
Yeah.
That's just the deal.
Yeah.
Sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
It is, but we don't get offered any other ones.
Yeah.
Your sadness just ends up leaking out of you anyway. Everybody's been there. And in the words of a very wise Bed Bath & Beyond employee, go ahead and cry all you want.
Good.
You're gonna have to pay for that toilet plunger.
Damn, fair enough. You did get up in its grill. This is a really important episode for Michael, and a really beautiful episode to make him experience that and get him to that place and get him on the same level as the rest of them, to bring the stakes that the rest of them have to him. Because I think before this episode, right, we have obviously the foursome. We have Tahani, Jason, Chidi, Eleanor. Their stakes are very crucial to the direction of the show and what we are aiming for. Not just them, but the audience and what the audience wants too. Of like, okay, we want these people that we care about. We want them to experience happiness. We don't want them to die and just go and be punished. We want them to be happy and etc. etc. And I think it's really a really important touch that actually they took an episode to put Michael in the same place. Because I think if they kept him a grade above them, he remains outside of that, and I don't think it quite hits the same way. And I think bringing him down to that level of, okay, he's in the same boat, which is completely appropriate, like I've said, right? Death, execution almost. The death penalty is the same for him as it is for them almost. I mean, even worse almost, because he ceases to be. It's just the end. I don't know, but I think putting him on the same emotional level that they're all at provides the same stakes for all of them. And also I think as the audience watching, because he's at the same level, you value him the same way, and your emotional attachment that you have to the rest of them for that reason of wanting them to succeed and be happy, perhaps get to the actual good place, transfers to Michael because he's in the same spot emotionally. And I think that's what that does, right? That's the important reason that you want to get them all on the same level and humanize him. Because I think up until this point, end of season 1, he's very not human. I mean, he's very not human, obviously, in season 1 too, but even more so, I think, the twist of season 1. Season 2, we're dealing with what we're dealing with, and then actually bring him into the fold. But he's not quite in the fold, and I think this episode brings him fully into the fold. And I think there allows us to go forward all together in the same physical place, but emotional place as well, with the same stakes for all of them. I think this is a really important step for the show and for Michael.
I really thought I could throw a better party than a magical, all-powerful being.
And subtly has been putting her in a position of like, you can't outpace someone who is so much more privileged than you, which is exactly what she's been experiencing her whole life, right? This idea of that has gone unnoticed really from me for the whole episode up until this point, and she's here lamenting her position, and this is what she's had her whole life, but not quite actually come to the personal, like the internal realization of, I can't compete with that, because they are dealing with different different circumstances than I am. With, you know, her sister, it was the same. Her sister had so much more going for her in the sense of she had the parental support. For whatever reason, people gave her more attention, blah blah blah. You know, we don't have enough information to draw on why that is, but she was given much more support as a kid. We saw that at least, and Tahani wasn't given the things her sister was. In the same way that in regards to these parties, Tahani didn't stand a chance because the Eternal Ones had so much more at their fingertips, so much more privilege, so much more power, and for the first time she is realizing in herself she didn't stand a chance. Which I think, as much as it's hard for her in this moment, it's helpful for her to learn, which is the theme of the episode, because I think as hard as it is for Michael, helpful for him to learn this, what he's learning in this episode, and I think helpful for the show and the group going forward that he learns that as well. Also, not to be ignored, Michael and Tahani are both examples of people going through these kinds of things while having a healthy support system, contrasting what we've seen of Eleanor and her upbringing. I think this is going to show us it makes all the difference.
Am I really that shallow?
Listen,
Go on, Jason.
back in Jacksonville, I was in charge of a 60-person dance group.
He's got the same story every time.
Whenever we audition a new dancer, we would rate them in 5 categories.
Go on.
Dancing ability,
Yeah.
coolness,
Fair enough.
dopeness,
Okay.
freshness,
Arguably the same.
and smart-brained.
Okay.
I would give you an 8.
Not a 9?
Well, 8 isn't bad, I suppose.
It's pretty good.
It is the best.
Really?
It was a scale of 1 to 13, but 8 was highest.
Why?
Okay.
But you're the most amazing person I've ever met.
Oh,
Besides Michael, and he was constantly torturing us, so I'd only rank him a 10.
buddy.
Worse than an 8.
Okay.
But unnecessarily confusing.
Yep.
Never seen you dance.
Go on. Macarena, get it going.
You're awesome.
She is.
Be nicer to yourself.
Yes, Jason. Beautiful.
From one 8 to another.
Oh, beautiful. Well done, mate.
I am grateful you pulled me out of my funk.
There we go. And now we see Michael actually feeling a bit of emotional closeness to Eleanor. That's the first step to him feeling actual friendship, like genuine friendship to Eleanor and these people. I mean, Eleanor's the first step, but that is the first step to that. And it's exactly what I was talking about a couple episodes ago of wanting to see Michael be good. And could he learn to be good? And also, could he be friends? I mean, you know, it went unsaid, but could he be friends with these people? Truly, you know, the reality we had in season 1 and what we thought was real, could that actually become reality? And I think that's the first step to making that something that could be real.
I thought we could read Death by philosopher Todd May.
Beautiful.
Should we wait for Tahani and Jason?
Wow.
So,
Not that surprised, if I'm honest. How'd he do? Because honestly, with Janet, he was struggling. He was like, Tahani, how'd that go? How'd that go?
That was awesome.
It was. Surprisingly so.
Really? Okay.
I know how to make cereal.
A dark horse, fair enough. Hey, what an interesting development. Cool. All right, well, we have waxed lyrical on existential crises as much as perhaps we possibly could of this episode, so I'm going to end that there. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, if this is your first video that you've watched of mine, please do subscribe if you haven't already. I also cover shows such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Better Call Saul. I've done Breaking Bad in the past as well. I do movie commentaries here and there. If you're interested in supporting me further, there are some links in the description. I do have early access to all my videos. If you're hankering for the next one, have a look at my channel. I've got the members access, early access at the bottom of my page, so go check out what's available right now, and hey, you can decide whether that's worth paying for or not. Thank you genuinely to those who do. I need to stop clapping, I'm so sorry. Thank you genuinely to those who do support me. But with that said, that was the end of this video. More good plays coming soon, but other than that, I hope you're well, and I'll see you soon.